So hello everybody. I'm here with an art topic video. Thank God. I really love doing art topics, but the problem with art topics, which is why with my channel I try to have it be a little varied, is realistically there's only so many topics you can cover, and me personally, I know not everybody is on this, mindset, and a lot of people do just do it, but I always feel like when I'm giving advice or when I'm talking about something, it has to be something I actually know or understand to a small degree. Like when I made my my web comics art talks a while ago, I did it and I fully said, I've never made a web comic fully. I've never done much here and there. I was commissioned to make one years ago and didn't end too well, but it's one of those things where you end up, where when you're an art channel especially, which I do my best to have it be my main focus, which is why I have my art in the background, but I know obviously can't always be that way, but I like to be a little varied and have my, TwistedDisaster account be just me. 99% of the time I'm an artist, but I also have other interests, other things here and there, and But when an art topic comes around that I can talk about, I want to talk about it, and I also don't want to get burnt down on them. So recently, and I've been talking about this on social media, and I put it in my community tab, I did a big bad, and I borked my wrist. I did a, like many artists and many artists who have been doing it for a long time, we have pretty bad wrists. We have to do the wrist exercise, we have to take breaks, And I, not so smartly, had a day where I woke up and my wrist was hurting. I've had wrist pain here and there for years now, and I've always been a pusher. And I was like, you know what? Won't be too bad. I'll be fine, and I will just, push through it. I'll get some stuff done. I was really excited to get stuff done. And this was the first time in my life, and I talked about it on Twitter when it happened. Follow me on Twitter if you want to, get more life updates. I'm very active on there. But I ended up waking up with the single worst pain in my wrist I have ever had. I would have to say up to when my wrist broke when I was in 4th grade. And that being said, I vaguely remember that, just that I was in a lot of pain, so I was putting it on par with that. Obviously not to the same extent of my wrist being broken, because it wasn't, but it hurt. It hurt, and I was getting so scared. Guys, I'm going to be real here. I was terrified, because normally when I have wrist pain, because I get them in both my wrists, but mainly my, my right wrist, my dominant hand wrist, and it normally hurts when I'm doing things that are activating, texting, drawing, messing around with things, gaming. I usually never have it just be a constant pain, and this was a constant pain. And I was terrified. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't find my arm brace anywhere. So I had to go to the store, which, in this time is never fun. I had to go to the store, I'd get a new arm brace, and because of some advice from a friend of mine and a friend who's also a nurse, I got some arthritis Tylenol. If you guys have wrist pain, get the arthritis ones. It's not going to cure arthritis, but it is going to help with swelling. So, obviously, though, if it consists, go see a doctor. If you can, obviously, I live in the U.S., so I have to say that because, we don't have free healthcare. Cough. Anyway, and so, it doesn't fix the problem, but it will help relieve some of the swelling, especially when it was in your carpals, which is where mine was, because I have carpal tunnel, like many artists and creators and people out there. But it was the first time in my life, guys, that it just hurt the entire day. I could not text, I could not read, I could not focus, I couldn't game. I was in my version of a living hell, because I also have ADHD and diagnosed, but recently diagnosed, but still counts. And it's hard for me to sit still and do nothing. I used to many years ago be able to be a couch potato and watch TV and relax. And with being self-employed and being all that, it is very hard for me to relax, especially in this hard time, because a lot of people who are self-employed, most of us work from home. So most of us don't get to leave our workspace. So I was also on a really good roll. I was doing a lot of streams a lot more recently. I was getting a lot more work done. I was having a really great workflow. And then this happened. And this tends to happen to me. Like, not the wrist pain, but just something usually happens when I'm in a flow, and it's like, why can't I ever just have, like, basic, you know? I either have amazing luck or terrible luck. I just want to have, like, a normal, you know? Is that too much to ask? To have a normal, you know, just life sometimes? But I was terrified. I was terrified that I was going to have to go to the doctor, you know, the next day if this didn't alleviate itself, and my husband was very concerned because it was an entire day. I couldn't even hold a fork to eat. I had to eat with my left hand. Everything hurt. And I was very lucky, you know, forcing to take it the day off, like a full day off. But like I said, you know, when most people take a day off, it's usually so you can do things you want to do, draw things you want to draw, play games, read. Like I said, I couldn't even hold a book. That's how much pain I was in. When I would be messaging or talking to people just to give people updates, I had to use text-to-speech on my phone, which we all know is never good there. And it's something, though, that I'm noticing more and more, because in my, you know, terrible state, all I could do was watch TV and watch YouTube and Hulu and stuff. And a couple of my videos are popping up in my recommended and random things here and there. And one of the videos that I really did enjoy was one of Lavender Town's much older ones, which I forget the name of it right now, but it's where she was talking about, like, her art school mentality and, like, habits that were really bad they were teaching her and stuff. I'll do my best to like, boop it in the iCard when I find it, when I'm editing it, you know, editing Michi, make sure you write that note down. But she was talking about how, like, there's so many unhealthy habits that you pick up in art school, and you pick it up being self-employed as well. You pick it up a lot. You know, you see the jokes and the memes of, like, oh yeah, I haven't seen the sun in, like, 17 days, and that's really, really bad. And I'm someone who has a light sensitivity. You know, it's one of those things where we put this pressure on us, and I think it's a generational thing for right now, because I'm seeing it more and more, where we're always pushed to do more. And a lot of people, it always gets under my skin. It gets under my skin when people try to counteract the, you know, oh, well, you want to take it easy? You can't just go to your boss and say, ooh, boss, I'm in pain, or I'm having a bad day. Yeah, you're right. You can't when you have a boss and a deadline. Most self-employed people that my audience reaches are not those people. Maybe they are, but I'm talking to the randoms here. I'm talking about the indie artists. I'm talking about the freelancers. I'm talking about the YouTubers. I'm talking about the comic people, the people just starting out, you know, or the hobbyists. That's mostly my demographic. I'm not saying you can't be professional and you can't do more things here and there and watch me. I'm sure a couple of you are, but my main demographic is people more around, like, my own kind of business from what I've seen, you know. Or you just like my personality, which is also really great. But, you know, it's one of those things where we're always seeing stuff with algorithmic pushes. We're seeing things here. You have to create art every day. You have to do something every day. You have to sketch every day. You have to fill up a sketchbook within a month. You have to fill up a sketchbook within a year. You have to blah, 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 blah. And it ends up putting these terrible expectations on people not to do that. And a lot of unhealthy habits we pick up, because these are habits I've done without realizing it. And me and my friends have joked about it. Habits such as not eating. Habits such as not sleeping or oversleeping because we weren't sleeping, you know, doing, you know, 12 to 24-hour live streams on the reg, not for a special occasion or for a charity or something, you know, or, you know, if one thing doesn't go right in your planner, you have a complete meltdown because you're a failure and a loser and you didn't accomplish what you did today, and we're in such a good spot because we can be self-employed and we can do this and other people can't do this. And it's just, you hear that? That's what a lot of us deal with in our heads. I know, because I deal with that. And a lot of my friends deal with that. And a lot of other people I know deal with that. But they don't voice it that much. And then you take people who go to the complete other route of they take self-care to a degree where it becomes toxic in its own right, you know? Not everybody can be in a luxurious place to be like, oh, Flip's hair. I drew for 4 hours this week and made all of my rent in those 4 hours. so I can do whatever I want for the rest of my week. Because I worked so hard. Because I have stress and anxiety and I can't get another job. And when you have those things, it also puts a bad light on us as well. Am I saying that's everybody? No, but I can guarantee it. Everybody listening right now knows somebody like that. Maybe they're not a friend, maybe they're not a family member, but you know of someone online who is like that. You know, it goes to the same thing of the e-beggars, of the people who, you know, they want an easy check instead of working for it. And then they use mental health as a guise, which is terrible because then it has the people who don't deal with the issues or the people who do deal with the issues. I'm gonna be real. And this is some tea on me. You know, as someone who has diagnosed depression, anxiety, and other issues, you know, I know that it's a battle. I know that sometimes it just comes and goes when it wants to, and we have no control over that. But you have to have control over your own actions. You know, you can have, and I've said this, like, I've been saying this for years, you can have a bad day, but you can't let that bad day go further. I know a lot of people who do, and they end up suffering for it. You know, you hear about terrible things, about terrible hygiene, terrible, you know, self-care in the sense of, like, brushing your teeth, doing your hair, you know, getting up and doing things. And then you get to the degree of you're like, oh, well, I don't want to be in that weight. So then you, like, overwork yourself to the point where you get to a breakdown. Like me, you know, where I was freaking out that I was going to have to go to the hospital if my arm didn't get better. My arm is slowly getting better, and I can do little things here and there now, and the pain isn't as bad. But I am, when I'm drawing, like, I can't draw more than, like, 40 minutes, which really sucks at certain intervals. So I have to, like, take a lot of breaks throughout the day. But it's those things where when we see people use those as excuses, it gets under our skin when we have those issues. You know, it's like, well, I have these, but I have to push through it or else I can't buy food. I have to push through it or else I can't get my medication. My kids don't have clothes. My pets don't eat. You know, and then there are people who then tell you, like, it's okay, just, you know, go change your diet and go sit in the sun for 30 minutes. And that's not going to help everybody, you know? And not everybody is in a spot of luxury to be that way. A lot of us push ourselves because we feel like we have to push ourselves. We have deadlines. We have things we need to make. We have cues we have to get down. And it becomes very toxic. And it becomes, like, without realizing it, we're ending up competing with each other because we'll see it, you know, I'll do it with myself and I'll have to catch myself. Well, I'll be like, oh crap, these Twitter artists that I follow, they have a mermaid picture every freaking day in mermaid, and here I am, I was doing so good, and then my wrist died, and now I can't be doing the workflow that I was doing. I can't be feeding the algorithm to help feed and boost my career. What am I gonna do? And it's times like that where we have to sit back and think. It's the same thing where, you know, it sounds crazy, but I have to set alarms to make sure I eat sometimes if I'm in a really positive work day where I'm like, oh yeah, I ate at like 9 a.m. I need to make sure I eat in 4 hours. Or else I'll sometimes go, you know, a full work day without touching anything. And then when it's done, the hunger will just hit me and then I end up binge eating because I haven't eaten all day. Or I am staying up all night to finish something. And then for the rest of the month, my sleep schedule's ruined because I stayed up for 24 hours to get something done. It's like, yay, I got that thing done, you know? And obviously, again, you can't really have that luxury when you have, you know, a 9 to 5 or when you have a boss telling you what to do. You know, a lot of people are very understanding and a lot of people are like that. But then when we, like, physically break down and get our health at risk, what's the point? You know, we're in a luxurious spot where we get to do what we love for our living, you know, or make some side cash. But then we feel like we have to go above and beyond instead of treating it like a job. You know, when you leave your job, that's usually it for most people. You clock out, you go home, and you don't have to think about it for the rest of the day until your next shift. And that's a hard thing for a lot of people right now. You know, it's a hard thing for a lot of people who are working from home, who are doing things like this now, you know? Oh, it's a little pain here and there. What's the big deal? It's making me better. It's not. We're just hurting ourselves. And I'm doing better to make sure I don't do that to myself. I hope you guys are too, you know, and I hope you guys understand that the basics of this story and of my rambles is I wish I listened to my body when I had that wrist pain and just didn't push through it, because it wasn't that bad. And now I'm here, you know, and now I'm probably on a longer road of recovery than if I had just taken a simple day off and just relaxed. So there's that, Art Rambles. I hope this advice or this stuff or whatever helps you guys out. I do want to say thank you to my amazing Patreon patrons. My Patreon has been getting more people lately, and that has been such a stress reliever for me right now. The Patreon really does help me make videos, make, things, and survive, and it just help ease my income just a little bit. So thank you as always to my Patreon patrons. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I make new videos every Wednesday in case you don't get them in your sub box. And all of my social medias are in my Linktree link down below, as well as my merch and stuff like that. Gotta do the whole little YouTube shell here. And as always, guys, I will see you next time. Bye.